The responsibilities of all of the players is to produce the best version of themselves, and the physical aspect of that is a major part. I think you build some strong foundations into the Christmas break, and when you come back in January it starts to feel like the season's not too far away. The players understand that this is all part of something bigger, making them ready to, like I say, hit that training ground over the next few weeks.
So Paul, the Radcliffe Road stand will become Notts' base for the next few weeks of the winter at least. What are the plans over these first few weeks of pre-season?
Basically just to get everybody used to being around again. I think they've had a little bit of time out, maybe a normal amount of time for an end of season break that we would normally give the lads. Obviously the season was condensed, a lot happened, there was a lot to get the head round, so I think it was important that they had an extended break. We asked a lot of them in a short space of time. They'll have had a chance to digest everything that's gone, their own individual successes and failures and areas they want to improve. So yeah, important that we get the group back in. Pipey and Liam in the Science and Medicine department will do various tests, run a battery of tests and screenings to make sure that they're up to speed and where they need to be before they start the nuts and bolts of their winter programme. Has
that been the focus of this first week in particular, kind of just seeing where everyone's at?
Yeah, I think so. We would always give them some guidelines to follow during that time off and where we want them to be when they come back as expected. So I think there's an understanding that we've got a right and a responsibility to make sure that they are where they say they are, and they run these tests, and then we can move them on from there.
I mean, we sit here in sort of mid to late November. We're quite a long way away from the season starting out here. How does the work that's done in these sort of pre-Christmas weeks help by the time we get to April, May?
You sort of slowly start to build foundations. I think it's important not too many of the lads fall off a cliff and don't have the ability to up their levels quite quickly. So I think you build some strong foundations into the Christmas break. And when you come back in January, it starts to feel like the season's not too far away. So it's certainly not time that's there to be wasted. I think in the life of the professional cricketer, gone are the days of 6 months here and 6 months there. It doesn't work like that anymore. So a lot of them, want to be ready to play should a call come knocking. And I think the important bit for them then becomes the post-Christmas bit is about polishing skills and getting skills ready for hitting the grass.
What's the attitude been like in the group in the first week back?
Good. Okay, so far not heard too much grumbling. A few aching sore bodies and bits and bobs, which is only to be expected. But yeah, keep an eye out for the ones that moan a little bit and have a bit of a chunter, which always makes for good fun. But I think Pipey and Liam and like I say, the Science and Medicine team handle that all very well. The players understand that this is all part of something bigger. Making them ready to, like I say, hit that training ground over the next few weeks.
How did you find these early pre-season weeks as a player?
As I got older, harder, ironically. As I was younger, a lot more enthusiastic. But the game's come a long way, even in 5 years. So looking back 10 or 15 years, we were operating on different schedules. Guys found it easier to travel off around the world and play cricket for the winter and be more responsible for themselves. Obviously with the state of affairs and world travel at the minute, that's not possible. So we'll have a lot of guys who are going to want to do quite a lot of work, albeit indoors, and it's our responsibility to create some challenge and for their own personal development over this next few months.
And I know we've seen impressive runs on the yo-yo test so far, personal bests in various bits here and there. Does that say something about the way the group have sort of kept up with things through the last month or so? Hopefully,
yeah. I certainly hope that that's the case. You would expect them to come back in decent shape, and you want them to be developing themselves as athletes as well as players. So there's an aspect for everybody of that'll look quite encouraging. There'll be a few that won't have reached that as well, and then they've probably got a little bit more work to do. So I think the responsibilities of all of the players is to produce the best version of themselves, and the physical aspect of that is a major part.
And when this week is done, what have you got planned with the rest of the cricket department for them in the next week or two? Well,
it'll be the majority of the stuff pre-Christmas is individually related. So if they've turned around and said actually I'll hold until January, then that's fine. If they've got a clear plan of how they're going to get better, aligned with how we view them as needing to improve in certain areas, then that's all fine and well and good. I think the bits that we've got to finalise is what facilities we'll have available to use potentially away from Trent Bridge, and there's obviously lots of question marks. We've done stuff off-site over the last few winters, whether we'll be able to do that. And then you can really start to stretch them in that January-February period. Obviously, when we hit the grass towards the end of February, hopefully, we want them in the best shape possible to make that adaptation.